Quetchino in there.
Well, left of picture, you can see the athletes lined up for the next event on the track. It is the men's 100 meters. A good mix of age and experience in this. A brace of 21-year-olds and 4 men over 30. And the fastest 2 men in the world this year go here. This is Jeff Erios of France, your silver medalist in the European Junior Championships 100 back in 2021. His best of 9.98 came last year. He's never broken 21 for 200. He's a big fella, 6'2". Kyrie King, semi-finalist at the World Championships 200 back in 2017. Struggles to get into US teams. 5 times he's broken 10 seconds, but only 6th in the Doha 200 last Saturday. He goes in 2. There's Ferdinand Omanyala, Commonwealth champion in Birmingham 3 years ago, remember. Bubbly character, Omanyala from Kenya. Very fast starter. Been in mixed form though, 2nd in China and then 9th in China earlier on last month. Fred Kerley, one of those few athletes who's broken 10 seconds for 100, 20 seconds for 200 and 44 for 400. He won here back in 2023 and that 9.94 is still the meeting record. He's the Olympic bronze medalist from last year. There's Simbine, the fastest man in the world this year. 4th in the Olympic Games last year, the South African. He was bronze medalist, 100 in 6, 4th from left. I thought there was a little twitch there from...
In a stunning turn of events at the 2025 Diamond League, Akani Simbine, the man long dubbed the nearly man of sprinting, finally silenced the doubters with a blazing 9.95-second victory, just 1/100th of a second off the meet record he once chased. For years, Simbine had lived in the shadows of 4th-place finishes. Tokyo, Paris, Rio, always fast, always close, but never quite there. But in front of a packed stadium, under the pressure of a stacked field including Fred Kerley, Ferdinand Omanyala, and Letsile Tebogo, Simbine didn't just run, he dominated the final meters. This wasn't just a win, it was a statement. For a man who has consistently outpaced his own reputation but lacked the medal to match, this might just be the race that rewrites his legacy. And for everyone watching, it begged one question. Is this the beginning of Simbine's golden chapter? Ferdinand Omanyala came into this race like a fireball, explosive, unpredictable, and impossible to ignore. The Kenyan sprinter, known for his blistering starts, rocketed out of the blocks and took control in the opening 40 meters. The crowd roared as Omanyala looked to be on track for a huge upset, leading a field of giants. But then, as if on cue, the fade began. Just like in China earlier this season, his speed couldn't hold past the halfway point, and by 60 meters, it was clear the storm was breaking. Analysts have praised his raw power, but once again, questions now swirl about his conditioning, technique, and race strategy. How can someone so dominant at the start keep falling off at the finish? Omanyala's split-second lead turned into a 4th-place disappointment, and while his talent is unquestioned, consistency remains his Achilles heel. Fred Kerley, once hailed as the all-around sprinting phenom, entered the race with expectations as high as his resume. A man who's cracked sub-10 in the 100 meters, sub-20 in the 200 meters, and sub-44 in the 400 meters, Kerley is a generational athlete. But on this night, something was off. While his start was clean, his drive phase lacked the venom we've come to expect. And though he surged in the final stretch, it was too little, too late. The man who once ruled the Diamond League with authority and swagger now looked a step behind. Could this be fatigue from overtraining? Or is age finally catching up with the Olympic bronze medalist? Either way, finishing behind Simbine raises the stakes for his next outing. Kerley isn't out of the race for dominance, but the margin for error is shrinking fast as younger, hungrier competitors close the gap. Letsile Tebogo, the reigning 200-meter Olympic champion and African sprint sensation, entered the 100-meter with a target on his back. Known for his relaxed stride and seemingly effortless 200-meter dominance, fans were eager to see how he'd fare in the furious shorter distance. But when the gun fired, Tebogo was slow out the blocks, and the reaction time seemed sluggish, almost hesitant. By 30 meters, he was trailing and never recovered, finishing outside the top 3. It was a far cry from his world record-threatening runs in the 200 meters, raising the uncomfortable truth. His speed endurance might not translate to explosive power needed for 100 meters dominance. Has the double duty of training for both distances stretched him too thin? Or was this simply a bad day? Either way, Tebogo's quiet performance left fans stunned, and his rivals encouraged. Because if the 100 meters is a war, this battle went badly for the champ. While others struggled, Simbine did exactly what champions do: capitalize. The South African star has been red hot this season, winning both 100-meter Diamond League meets in China, and coming into this race with the fastest time of the year, 9.90 seconds. Critics have long called him the man who peaks too early, the sprinter who can't finish under pressure. But this time, he flipped the script. Not only did he take the win, he did it convincingly, with composure, form, and late-race surge that screamed world class. This wasn't a fluke. It was a masterclass in timing and experience. As others burned out or stumbled, Simbine held steady, proving that when his rhythm is right, he's nearly untouchable. If he can carry this momentum into the World Championships later this year, the podium might finally welcome the athlete it has so often overlooked. Pressure. It's the invisible opponent every sprinter faces, and in races like these, it's often what separates victory from defeat. In this Diamond League showdown, that pressure was palpable. Every athlete knew the stakes. The Olympics are looming, contracts are on the line, and reputations can be cemented or shattered in under 10 seconds. For some, like Simbine, pressure was fuel. For others, Omanyala, Tebogo, even Kerley, it seemed like a weight dragging performance down. Analysts often focus on technique, but mental fortitude might just be the most underrated weapon in a sprinter's arsenal. In Miramar, Doha, and now here, we've seen world-class athletes falter not from lack of speed, but from the inability to stay locked in mentally. And that's what makes this year's races so captivating, because every start line is also a test of composure. This Diamond League season is shaping up to be more than just a series of races. It's a full-blown sprinting saga. Each meet is another chapter in the growing rivalry between veterans and rising stars, world champions and hungry challengers. Simbine's win has reshuffled the deck, but Kerley, Tebogo, and Omanyala aren't out of the picture. In fact, they're now under more pressure than ever to respond. With the World Championships in September and the Olympics on the horizon, every sprint counts, not just for medals, but for momentum. And fans are hooked. These aren't just athletes running 100 meters. They're building a legacy with every stride. One misstep, one false start, one poorly timed lean at the line could make or break a season. Toss.
Way to go. Now, quickest sequence running up, maybe